Okay, auditor, remember the rule, auditor expresses his opinion on financial statements. This opinion is a reasonable assurance. This opinion is a reasonable assurance. Now you have to understand various levels of assurance. So there is one absolute assurance. There is one absolute assurance. Okay, and there is one reasonable assurance. Okay, and there is one limited assurance. There is one limited assurance. And there is one no assurance. So total how many steps are there? 4 steps. First step is no assurance. Second step is limited assurance. Third step is reasonable assurance. Fourth step is absolute assurance. What is the meaning of absolute assurance? It is something like a guarantee. Something similar to guarantee. Something similar to guarantee. So what is the meaning of guarantee? Meaning of guarantee is, okay, meaning of guarantee is I am saying something with 100% conviction. So trust me, 100% I am saying that it is so and so. How can I say that? No professional can say that. No professional should say that. So if you go to a doctor performed one, surgery, operation. After the surgery, he said, this is successful and you are healthy now. If you ask him, write it on a stamp paper and give it to me, he cannot give. Using his professional expertise, skill, knowledge, he has rendered some service. But if you ask on a stamp paper to give something, he cannot give. No lawyer, no engineer, no doctor, no chartered accountant can give absolute certainty or absolute guarantee. It is not possible for them. What is reasonable assurance? Reasonable assurance is a positive, high level assurance. What is the meaning of limited assurance? Limited assurance is a negative assurance and low level assurance. Negative assurance and a low level assurance. Now what is no assurance? This means there is no assurance given at all. That means zero. So mathematically it is not correct to express mathematically, but only for your understanding I am putting some numbers. This is zero assurance. Okay, this is more than 50% assurance. This is, say for example, around 90% assurance. This is 100% assurance. Okay, auditor gives this. Okay, so this happens in audit. This happens in review of quarterly financial statements or interim financial statements. When the auditor reviews interim financial statements, he will give negative assurance. He will give limited assurance. So he will not give any, high level assurance or reasonable assurance. He will give only very low level assurance. This low level assurance review of interim financial statements is not fully covered in CA intermediate or IPCC syllabus. In final, you will learn it. No assurance is usually given when the auditor, when the chartered accountant is performing accounting function or consultancy. Accounting function or consultancy. For example, you came to my office and you asked me, Pawan sir, are you a chartered accountant in practice? I said yes. Pawan sir, can you please file my income tax return? I said yes. So when I filed your income tax return, or when I prepared your P&L balance sheet, when I maintained your books of account, or when I have done some business valuation, or when I have prepared your project report, I cannot give any assurance to you. I cannot give any opinion on that because you asked me for a specific assignment. I have done assignment without any opinion involved. It is consulting or it is accounting work. So you have given 100 vouchers to me. That 100 vouchers I typed in Excel sheet. That 100 vouchers I typed in accounting package like Tally, and I converted that 100 vouchers into one P&L account, and then I have given that data to you. Then if you ask me, Pawan sir, give some opinion on this, I cannot give any opinion. Zero opinion. So opinion cannot be given in accounting work or consultancy. So in audit we give high level of assurance. Now what is the difference between a positive assurance and a negative assurance? What is the difference between a positive assurance and a negative assurance? Okay, so look here. Ravi is a good boy. This is one statement. Second statement is, nothing came to my knowledge or attention. Nothing came to my knowledge or attention to give an opinion that Ravi is a bad boy. Ravi is not a good boy. So try to understand statement 1 and statement 2. Statement 1 is an assurance and it is positive. Statement 2 is negative assurance. So what is a positive assurance? Financial statements are showing true and fair view in our opinion. What is this? Financial statements are showing true and fair view in our opinion. This is positive assurance. If you write, nothing came to our attention, to conclude that the financial statements are not showing true and fair view. So if you observe this, this is 1, this is 2. So if you observe 1 and 2, the difference is 1 is a positive frame of sentence, 1 is a positive assurance, second one is a negative assurance. So this will be given in audits. This will be given in audits. This will be given in case of public listed companies. In case of public listed companies, stock exchange and SEBI guidelines. Stock exchange and SEBI guidelines say this public listed companies are supposed to prepare quarterly financial statements. And these quarterly financial statements are to be prepared in accordance with Accounting Standard 25. In accordance with Accounting Standard 25. Quarterly financial statements are to be prepared in accordance with Accounting Standard 25. Now the question is, when you have prepared quarterly financial statements, will you call the auditor and say, auditor sir, complete this quarterly financial statements audit? In a year, conducting one audit itself is very risky, very costly. It involves a lot of efforts. Risky, costly, efforts. Risky in the sense, it occupies a lot of operational time. So it has, it has its own dimensions of cost and time. That means constraints. So the auditor has to sit for 1 month, 1.5 months. Okay, he has to apply detailed internal control procedures, and he has to put so many tests. He has to apply so many procedures. He has to apply so many techniques. And at the end of audit, he will express an opinion. But in case of this quarterly financial statements, from the date of this, quarter is over, within 10-20 days they will have to give this financial statements. And SEBI understood that conducting audit of quarterly financial statements is very difficult. Conducting audit of quarterly financial statements is very difficult. So don't do audit. Now shareholder will say, Pawan sir, if they are unaudited financial statements, we will not trust them. If they are unaudited financial statements, we will not trust them. Now the question is, audit cannot be done, but if you do not do audit, shareholder is not happy. So you will conduct a limited review. This is called review by chartered accountants. So the chartered accountants, who are the statutory auditors of the company, they will come at the end of every quarter. They'll open this financial statements. They will verify everything. But the difference is, in audit, I am taking your blood out, I'll send it to the lab and I do a detailed diagnosis. In case of review, I do the physical examination. I check your pulse, I check the BP, I check your eyes, I check your tongue, I check your, some parts of the body generally, how the functioning is. And overall, with my experience, I can say, yeah, this guy is healthy. No problem to him. So there are no symptoms. So I say, this guy is not unhealthy. I cannot tell this guy is healthy. So the difference between audit and review is evaluation of internal controls. In review, in audit, you do evaluation of internal control system, compliance procedures. You do this, but in case of review, this will not be done. In case of audit, evaluation of internal control systems, compliance procedures will be applied. What is compliance procedure? I'll explain you in detail. Don't worry about it. But in case of review, evaluation of internal control system will not be there. Then the second difference is review, audit, all techniques will be applied. In audit, all techniques will be applied. That means inquiry, confirmation, recalculation, reapplication of procedures. So there are so many auditing techniques which we study in SCA 500. We study so many auditing techniques. Risk assessment procedures will be there. Further audit procedures will be there. Compliance procedures will be there. Substantive procedures will be there. Analytical review procedures will be there. So we apply so many procedures. But in case of review, my dear friends, we apply only 2 procedures. In case of review, we apply only 2 procedures. That is, one, inquiry. Second one, analytical review procedures. Other procedures, other techniques will not be applied. So when I am unable to do detailed audit, how can I give detailed opinion? The auditor is justified. No. See, you are one client. I am one chartered accountant. Or you are chartered accountant. I am client. I came to you and I have given you scope of the assignment is detailed audit. I told you, auditor sir, do full audit and give opinion. Then you can conduct audit for 1.5 months. Then you can spend more time. Then you can give good opinion. I'll give more remuneration to you. So you'll put more efforts and you'll apply more procedures. But when I say, sir, in 4 days I want one opinion, sir. So brief work, sir. Don't spend more than 10 hours, sir. And I have given you certain constraints. Now the question is, how can you give, a detailed opinion when you are not doing detailed audit? Please don't write on the board. Okay, someone is writing this. This is not professional, so please don't do this. Okay, so when I do detailed audit, I give audit opinion. When I do limited review, I give limited opinion. That is the reason in case of audit, a reasonable, that means high level, that means positive opinion can be given. Here limited assurance is only given. What is the meaning of limited assurance? Low level assurance, negative assurance. This is the difference between reasonable assurance and limited assurance. Unfortunately, no student understands what is reasonable assurance, what is limited assurance. They know only one thing. Reasonable assurance is not a guarantee. But why? What next? What are various levels of assurance? You need to understand. When you understand concepts, when you are reading it, it will be very simple. When you understand the concepts, when you are reading it, it will be very simple. Then you don't need to really by heart the concepts. So simple. What is the summary? Try to understand it like this. In case of audit, reasonable assurance is given. In case of audit, reasonable assurance is given. Reasonable assurance refers to a high degree positive assurance. In audit, absolute assurance cannot be given. Now student will ask a doubt, Pavan sir, you have taken 1 crore rupees of audit fee. You are a very big guy. You have 50 members audit team. You have done 4 months audit. But how can you say, Pavan sir, you cannot give absolute assurance? This is cheating, Pavan sir. Please give absolute assurance. My dear friend, I will tell you there are certain things which are stopping me from giving absolute assurance. I do not know certain things. I do not know certain things. That is the reason I cannot give you absolute assurance. Now try to understand it like this. Okay, put the heading assurance. Put the heading assurance. Put the heading assurance. Point number 1. In assurance engagements, the auditor expresses an opinion at the end of the audit. At the end of the engagement. At the end of the engagement. In assurance engagements, the auditor expresses an opinion at the end of the engagement. In audit, the auditor expresses a reasonable assurance. Underline this word, reasonable assurance. Highlight this. In audit, the auditor expresses a reasonable assurance, which is a high level and positive assurance. In audit, the auditor expresses a reasonable assurance, which is a high level and positive assurance. 3. In review, what is review? Of audit usually will be for annual financial statements. Audit usually will be for annual financial statements. Review of interim financial statements. In review of interim financial statements. In review, in bracket write down, in review of interim financial statements, the auditor expresses. Okay, auditor here is also known as reviewer. You can call him reviewer. The person who conducts audit is auditor. The person who conducts review is reviewer. But even in case of review also you can use word auditor. Why you know? Because the same person conducts annual audit and interim review. So Pawan is auditor of X Limited. Pawan will conduct review. So even if you call Pawan as an auditor or reviewer, both the ways Pawan is correct. He is auditor, he is reviewer. So don't worry about it. In review of interim financial statements, the auditor or the reviewer expresses limited assurance. He expresses limited assurance. He expresses limited assurance. So what is limited assurance? First highlight this limited assurance and then write down which is a low level and negative assurance. A low level and negative assurance. So assurance engagements are of two types. Assurance engagements are of two types. Reasonable assurance engagements, like audit. Limited assurance engagements, like review. This is covered in CA Inter syllabus. Audit is included in CA Inter syllabus. Okay. So write down, this is point number 3, then write down point number 4. Point number 4. In audit, In audit, absolute assurance cannot be given. In audit, absolute assurance cannot be given. Now highlight absolute assurance. What is absolute assurance? Absolute assurance refers to a guarantee or 100% assurance. Absolute assurance refers to a guarantee or 100% assurance. Okay, continue writing. According to SA 200, Standard on Auditing 200, in detail we'll study after a while. According to SA 200. According to SA 200, auditor expresses a reasonable assurance. A reasonable assurance. Auditor expresses a reasonable assurance. So according to SA 200, auditor expresses a reasonable assurance. Okay. This is one point. Next point is audit is not a guarantee. Audit is not a guarantee for the future viability. Audit is not a guarantee for future viability of the company. Future viability of the company means the profitability. B. Audit is not a guarantee for the efficiency and effectiveness of management. Audit is not a guarantee for the efficiency and effectiveness of management. So try to understand it like this. So I hope you have copied this too. So copy that. Audit is not a guarantee for the future viability of the company or for the efficiency and effectiveness with which the management will carry on the operations in future. Okay. So now one shareholder in AGM, is asking the auditor. One shareholder in AGM is asking the auditor. What is the question? The current EPS of the company, the current net profit is 10 crores. Is it right? Auditor said, yes, it is 10 crores. Now the question is, next year, what will be the profit? Auditor said, IDK. I don't know. How will I know? Am I auditor or astrologer? Am I auditor or astrologer? How would I know? Next year what will be? I cannot tell you. Now he is asking another question. Will the company be able to earn profits in future like how they earned in past? Auditor again said, I don't know. Then next question. Is the management of company, that is the board of directors, those charged with governance, other levels of management like middle level, lower level management, okay, are they efficient? Is the management efficient? Is the management efficient? Is the management effective? So what the auditor has to answer? Auditor has to answer, that is none of my business. Auditor has to answer, that is not my scope. So to evaluate the efficiency and effectiveness, that is not my scope. So why will I evaluate the efficiency and effectiveness of the management? My dear friend, try to understand. You have given P&L to me, you have given balance sheet to me, you have given cash flow statement to me, you have given general ledgers to me, you have given books of prime entry, subsidiary books, you have given journal, you have given transactions, you have given vouchers, you have given bills, okay, you have given various assets and liabilities. My job as an auditor is to verify the financial statements and the accounting records and give opinion on that. But I do not speak anything about the future. I do not speak anything about the profitability. I do not speak anything about the ability of the management. How can I comment on the ability of management? How can I comment on the future viability of business? Next year, what will be EPS? Next year, what will be return on investment? I don't know. I am auditor. I am not astrologer. I am auditor, I am not astrologer. So try to understand one thing. So this is auditor. Auditor can verify only past financial statements. This is future. So I can't tell anything relating to the future. You understand it? I can't tell anything about the future. Now the shareholder said, okay, Pawan sir, I understand your version. I understand your version. Now tell me one thing. Past financial statements you verified? I said yes, past financial statements are verified. Give 100% assurance on that. I said no. Now shareholder is saying, Pawan sir, you have taken 1 crore rupees of audit fee. You are saying I don't know future, and you are saying past financial statements I verified, but I cannot give you 100% assurance on that also. Then I'll say, my dear friend, I understand your point, but please try to understand my point also. My point is, there are certain inherent limitations. There are certain inherent limitations. What is meant by inherent limitation? Inherent means internal and unavoidable. It is not problem from Pawan's point of view. It is problem of X Limited. Pawan is conducting audit of X Limited. It is not the problem of Pawan. It is the problem or the situations existing in X Limited. There are certain internal and unavoidable limitations in the process of audit and in X Limited. In the situation, in the process of audit, there are certain inherent limitations due to which the auditor cannot express absolute assurance. So I'll tell you one of the things. We'll discuss in detail what are the inherent limitations of audit. We'll discuss in detail what are the inherent limitations of audit. But try to understand, to a very big extent, auditor relies on the books of account given by management. Sometimes if management, see, you sold 100 pants, you are one textile shop. I am auditor. You sold 100 pants, but you have made bill only for 80 pants. 20 pants you sold without bill. Now when I came after the completion of the year, you have given one bill book and you said that, Pawan sir, 80 pants sold, this is the bill book. How would I know that you sold 100 pants, not 80 pants? Do you think I'll look at your CCTV camera for full year, 365 days, your CCTV camera, how many pants are sold, how many shirts are sold, how many briefs are sold, how many bunions are sold? Will I note it like that? No, you said 80 pants are sold and I have taken the data. From that I have verified financial statements and it is correct. So the management has done a fraud. No, I will try to evaluate that also. I will try to bring that fraud also out, but at times it is very difficult. At times it is very difficult. So now let us in detail understand what are the inherent limitations of audit. So what is our agenda now? We have to understand what are the inherent limitations of audit. So let us see inherent limitations of audit. Put the heading inherent limitations of audit SA 200. And as per SA 200, inherent limitations of audit.